God damn.
Oh, hi, didn't see you there. We live in a world today where most of our interactions are interconnected with virtual reality. And one of the most popular venues for us to get a good taste of VR is, of course, the VR arcade. VR arcades have been at the forefront in the world of entertainment today, with an estimated growth to around 45 billion in terms of revenue by 2025. This comes to no surprise since the average VR system costs an average of $2,000 US, and that's not even mentioning the large amount of space required for an actual arcade full of these bad boys. But all this growth and optimism for VR arcades came to a screeching halt in 2020. With the arrival of COVID-19, the world went into full shutdown mode. With worldwide lockdowns, businesses shutting down, and malls virtually empty, VR arcades were among one of the most hard-hit industries as they were unable to transition to online businesses, since you can't exactly transport an entire arcade to your home. In fact, things look quite bleak for the industry, with Sandbox, once held as one of the VR startups with the brightest potentials, filing for bankruptcy this year as a direct consequence of the virus. And in DigiCapital's report for 2020, the only sector of the VR industry that is seen to be 100% negatively impacted is location-based entertainment, which is just a fancier term for VR arcades. So, what are the options left for hopeful investors of this once growing business, as less and less people feel safe about interacting with others in public? How can you reassure avid VR users to flock to the arcades again? After spending sleepless nights pondering this difficult question, COVID-19, I believe that there are few solutions for this problem, coming in the forms of sanitation and efficiency. Let's first get into sanitation. Imagine yourself having the time of your life in the arcade. You're completely absorbed by the game, and you think to yourself, wow, these controllers and this headset sure are sweaty and sticky, but no big deal. After you finish your session, you discover your hands covered with that same stickiness.
What the fuck?
You now have bacteria all over you. Sure, it is unlikely you caught the virus this way, but why worth the risk? To fix the sanitation problem, I believe a viable option is to have copper-infused fabric to be attached to the most touched areas of the VR system, which are, of course, the headset straps, the visor foam, and the controllers. So, I hear the economics majors screaming in terror. But what about the fabric budget? Do you want to put more pressure on the supply chains during such a tough time? Well, fear not, dear economics majors. Copper-infused fabrics come at a relatively cheap price, costing only $23 for 500 kilograms. If that's not a deal, I don't know what is. But why copper, you might ask? That's because mankind has been using copper to kill viruses and treat patients for over 1,000 years. Records show that the ancient Egyptians, Chinese, and Phoenicians all used copper to treat heart and stomach pain, bladder diseases, and even battle wounds to prevent infection. Simply put, copper is a great natural material to kill viruses. But with modern-day technology, the copper can now be infused with fabric, meaning that you won't need your skin to touch that cold metal to protect you from viruses. In fact, certain countries have already seen increased use of copper-infused fabric masks, replacing the expensive N95s. With several iterations and designs over time that you can see right here, the final design of the VR headset with copper-infused fabric looks a little something like this. With the fabric placed on the head straps as well as the visor foam lined with the same material, the front portion of the headset will also include automatic silver sprays that will sanitize the visor and the foam with a silver solution that helps to clean the bacteria and virus without causing any discomfort for the user's eyes and skin, while sanitizing alcohol usually won't. The new design of the headset will also include a cooling system within the bulkier front portions, with the goal of helping the player cool down after much physical movement. As anyone experienced with VR gaming can tell you, it can get real hot and stuffy within the visor after some time. The sweat generated from that will almost certainly push away the next player since no one wants to put on a wet visor, especially with COVID going around. But that does not mean alcohol wipes should be excluded even with these new implementations. VR arcades should provide the service of manually cleaning the headsets and controllers after each player's session, as an extra layer of precaution. So, what about the efficiency solution? Subscription services have been adopted by multiple platforms today, from Adobe, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. But what about VR? Companies like Viveport have provided subscription services for players to entice more game time during COVID lockdowns, with a monthly subscription payment of $12.99. If this service becomes available for VR arcades, especially for multiplayer instances, it can provide real incentive for renewed visits to the location-based service. VR arcades can also increase attraction for the subscription service by syncing in-store VR systems with companies like Steam. This way, customers who cannot afford in-home VR systems can return to the arcades more occasionally to continue their in-game progress, instead of just playing individual games per payment, which will, in the long term, decrease interest for the player. The solutions, however, may take some time to complete, since the large-scale adoption of a change in material for the VR systems will certainly take more than a few months. Hence, these designs are not only reserved for the COVID era, but will be continued for the post-COVID years. From airports to swimming pools, the awareness of sanitation will become significantly higher with the passing of COVID, and these new implementations for the VR arcade might even extend to regular arcades, as well as facilities such as the cinema and the use in shopping carts, as well as gym equipment. But that's just speculation for the future. As for the solutions that I proposed, will they be accepted by companies such as HTC or Oculus? Who knows? When will COVID be over? Ask the good Lord. How can I escape from the hell known as 2020? Too many unanswered questions. But even with all these obstacles we're currently facing, the continued progress towards making the use of virtual reality more accessible for a broader population should not be abandoned. Out of any problem arises a solution. Perhaps the virus generated new opportunities to improve the sanitation or the quality of products that we use today, and I'm certain that many others will design new methods to provide safe access to VR in this confusing time.